Mr. Nadhim, thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you for having me.
24. It's a great pleasure and it's a great honor for us. Let me ask you about this forum. What does it mean being held in Kurdistan, but it doesn't being held in Iraq, for instance? What does it mean that for the European countries, and exactly what does it mean for United Kingdom?
Thank you very much for having me on your program.
You're welcome.
What's important about this forum is it comes at a time when there's clearly instability and flux taking place in the region, but also, as the Prime Minister spoke about today, it comes, about 2 weeks before we gather together in the UAE, in Dubai, for COP28.
Yes.
This is a big moment on climate change, and the Prime Minister's speech today addressed both economic reforms, but also climate change and the politics of Iraq. Stability is what Kurdistan offers. It's important to recognize that gatherings like this happen because Kurdistan is stable and is strong and is united. And I think the message today was very much of that, and you heard it from Boris Johnson, the previous British Prime Minister, praising the economic reforms of the Prime Minister Masroor Barzani, and of course the work that's undertaken here to not only grow the economy under difficult circumstances, but also address some of the challenges faced by Kurdistan with the federal government in Baghdad.
Right. Mr. Nadhim, as you know, they stopped pumping oil from Kurdistan for the past, 6-7 months. What does it mean, resumption of the oil to the world? What does the effect of that oil from Kurdistan? Is it the effect of economically, in Europe and also for United Kingdom?
So clearly, the price of a barrel of oil is important to the whole world, to the European economy, to the British economy.
Yes.
That there is a stability in the price of oil. Now, if you look at Iraq as a whole, and if we all want to see Iraq prosper and do well, and of course, if Kurdistan is able to export its oil under my understanding of the new agreement, which is to be supported and applauded between Prime Minister Barzani and Prime Minister Sudani in Baghdad, it can only be good for the whole of Iraq, because ultimately, not having that oil being sold on the global markets means less revenue for Iraq as a whole, whilst the expenditure of government continues to be where it is. So that gap can only be damaging for Kurdistan, but also damaging for the rest of Iraq as well. And I would urge everybody to get round the table and solve this problem and develop the economy of Iraq, as the Prime Minister here is doing, so that everybody benefits. But it has to be on an equal footing. People have to feel in Kurdistan that they're getting their fair share, that the constitution of Iraq is being respected. The federal system is working properly. And at the moment, unfortunately, what you're hearing today is it's still facing many, many challenges. It's not working properly. And I think it's important that that message is heard throughout the whole of Iraq, not just in Kurdistan, which is why this forum is so important. What this forum provides is the ability to bring people from around the world, experts from around the world. And what it also does is the stability of Kurdistan is recognized around the world. You heard today again from Prime Minister Boris Johnson, the support for a stable, prosperous Kurdistan from him and from the British government continues.
Right. Mr. Nadhim, let's go back to the stability and peace in Iraq. As you know, Iraq being as a state, being created by United Kingdom after the First World War. But unfortunately, until now, we don't see no stability, no peace, no security, except Kurdistan. What's the reason behind that? Is it Iraq a real state, or what's the future of Iraq? What do you see about the future of Iraq?
Well, look, it would be unwise for a British politician to lecture politicians in Kurdistan or in Iraq, in the rest of Iraq, as to how Iraq is administered.
I'm asking about your opinion about
My
that.
opinion is actually it's incumbent on every politician, as it is in the United Kingdom. You know, I wouldn't like people to lecture me about how we run the United Kingdom if they are coming to
yes, I know.
visit or participate in a conference like this in London, for example. But it's incumbent on everyone to put the interests of the country ahead of every other interest. If you follow the evidence and put the interest first, I think you'll reach the right conclusions. You'll reach the right outcome, i.e. economic prosperity, stability, safety, and that can only come if the constitution of Iraq is respected. It's something that is important. You know, if you look at our democracy in the UK, okay, it took us 750 years
I
to
agree
reach the stage we are today. So again, I wouldn't be arrogant to lecture anybody in Iraq or in Kurdistan as to how you face these challenges and address them. But it's important, I think, to work together, to hear the message coming from this conference in Baghdad, that what ultimately needs to happen is the well-being and prosperity and stability for Kurdistan and for the rest of Iraq. That can only happen through dialogue and meaningful negotiation and outcomes, which is what we heard again today from the Deputy Prime Minister, Qubad Talabani. Outcomes are what matter. When I did the vaccine program in the UK, I used to say to my civil servants, don't tell me how many vaccines we have in the warehouse or how many we have in contract. Tell me how many we've put in people's arms and saved their lives. What people want to see is delivery. And I think if we focus on delivery of positive outcomes for the people, you will absolutely come to the right decision. But I would never attempt to lecture anyone about how they should be able to administer themselves.
It's not about giving a lecture, it's all about the opinion. Everybody has an opinion about something. Now, let me ask you about the Middle East. Now there is a huge conflict between Israel and Hamas, and Hamas created this conflict for the time being. Now, do you expect any expanding of this conflict, of this war, for the rest of Middle East, or at least to like Lebanon, Syria, and the countries around Palestine?
Look, the terrorist attack by Hamas on the 7th of October must be condemned. And I think it's right that we condemn it, but also we must recognize the rights of the Palestinian people, the rights of the Palestinian people in Gaza and in the West Bank to have a Palestinian state. The ultimate conclusion for me, if we're ever going to come out of this dark period and contain this war, is for Palestine to be recognized, a two-state solution to be in place, and then a concerted effort by regional actors as well as international actors to come together and support the state of Palestine to become prosperous, to become stable and peaceful. Because that's the only way you combat the ideology, is by creating a new reality on the ground, and that begins with a Palestinian state.
Mr. Nadhim Zahawi, thank you so much for this quick interview with Kurdistan 24. It's an honor for me as well, for Kurdistan 24, to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. بینرانی بەڕێزم دیدارەشمان لەگەڵ تۆڵبەڕێز نەدیم زەهاوی وەزیری پێشووی دارایی بریتانیا و ئەندامی ئێستای پەرلەمانی بریتانیا لێرەدا کۆتایی تا دیدارێکی تر شاد و بەختەوەر بن خواتان لەگەڵ